Let's talk about how I made $300,000 in my 20s from match betting. I have about 15 minutes in the car and I'm going to speak to you about what the $300,000 did to my life, and then I'm going to talk about how I actually did it. If you don't know who I am, my name is JP. I am 32 years old. I am one of the owners of the system. There's 3 of us and we have now built a team of about 15 to 20, and we have 1,650 current members in our community. We've been live for 5 years. We've made our community over $50 million, and together the 3 of us combined have made over $1 million from match betting. Now, I'm going to take you back to when I was 22 years old, which is when I first came across match betting. If you want to learn more specifically about me, I have my own channel and I speak about what I did prior to that with other side hustles, but let's just focus on match betting in this video. I previously, before coming across match betting, was just a normal 19, 20, 21-year-old kid who just went through the early 20s, late teens, thinking I knew everything, learning hard lessons about certain things. I'd place little gamble bets here or there. Back then there was no such thing as same game multis, so I'd do multis here or there, $5 multis. But then as I became a little bit more risk on, if you want to call it that, I actually launched a $1,000 bet once, trying to make $100 on $1.10. Funnily enough, that bet lost. So I tried to make $100 profit by risking 1,000, lost. Essendon versus St Kilda, lost. About 9 months later, it was actually on my 21st birthday, I did the same thing again, $1,000, paying $1.20, I reckon this time. It was St Kilda versus Fremantle. Ross Lyon was coaching, I think, Fremantle, and he rested all the players. And knowing what I know now, I would have just hedged out of that position and maybe lost $50, but unfortunately, I didn't know any better, and they lost again. It was the last round of the year. They literally rested all their players. $2,000 gone in 2 $1,000 bets, and that scarred me. That actually woke me up to realize that gambling is really toxic and it can destroy you. From there, I actually didn't place a bet, I reckon, for another while, 6 months maybe. And then eventually I started getting into betting again, but this time, when I was 22, I was in my 4th year of osteo. I was studying osteopathy, trying to become an osteopath. I ended up becoming an osteopath, but I was in my 4th year of university. And I just came across a bonus bet on a Bet365 account, and I managed to turn that bonus over risk-free, because what I did was, I don't even know how I found this. I didn't look up any search engines. I didn't know what match betting was. I just had a random thought one night that I can go and place a bet on the opposite team that the bonus was on and I'd guarantee profit. Now, I didn't know at the time I made a mistake. So I had a $100 bonus, and this $100 bonus, if you put it on a stake not returned, meaning you only get the profit from the bet. So a $100 bonus multiplied by 1.9 actually was gonna net me only $90 because they take back the 100 after it. I didn't know this. And I actually staked for the team to win on the other side to return 190 as well. Now, the team that I staked with my real money on another bookmaker ended up being 190 return as well. I did a line bet, $1.90 v $1.90. One of them has to win, one of them has to lose. The cash bet ended up winning. I ended up making $90. If you've watched our story podcast, it goes for 2.5 hours. I actually said I made 45. I made 90. It was an error because I actually overstaked on that bet and made $90. So technically 90% of the bonus. However, if the bonus had have won, I would have lost $10 because I would have only got 90 back. Anyway, that idea there, I worked out later, was a mistake. And then from there, I'm like, wow, this is a full-blown money glitch. Like, I can literally press a button and make money. And that's when I realized what match betting was. I'm someone who picks up things and goes really, really hard at them. I get addicted to things fast, and I become super obsessed with things really fast. From my entire life, that's what I've always done. From literally when I was 5 years old. And like, I've told this on my personal YouTube, but I used to like literally remember footy scores from the whole weekend and the whole season. That's how full on obsessed I was, and weirdly autistic, probably, never diagnosed. And that is the same obsession that I then channeled into match betting. Within a couple of months, I'd made $15,000 to $20,000. All I did was, I messaged my best mate at the time. I literally messaged him that night, confirmed it with him that it was correct. He was better at math than me. And he's like, yeah, that works. And together, we were always guys who would go into things and go in together. So we'd already run eBay little side hustles together. This was the next thing. As soon as I found out something, straight to Kiro, my best mate. And then we started doing this. We started signing up some of our friends and telling them that we'd place the bets for them and telling them what bets to place. And all of a sudden, I'd made 15 to 20K. Now, what happened there was I actually had never really experienced the feeling of being financially free. Now, I'd only made 15 to 20,000, but to make 15 to 20,000 over a 2 to 3 month period, when you've had probably 2 to 3K, maybe 5K in your bank account for the last 4 years of adulthood, all of a sudden you have a lot more freedom. and we were booking trips to Europe, going overseas, and thought we were fucking King Dick. We conquered it. We literally had a money glitch in our pocket. We'd open up the phone, open up a betting app, get a bonus bet, turn it over, withdraw it, see you later. That's what I did. I literally did that for like 6 to 12 months, maybe even 2 years. And I didn't touch the other promotions until later on. Now I'm gonna skip some of this story because I don't wanna go into the nitty gritty of exactly what we started to do. I will a bit later. But the thing I wanna focus on is what that did to my brain. Now, when you don't have a money tap, literally we used to call this a money tap. When you don't have a money tap, you don't think the same as when you have a money tap. The money tap for me was literally bonus bets. I knew that if I got bonus bets, they were free money. And I used to sign up as many bookies as I could, turn over the bonus, withdraw the money later. Now, back then, I only learnt how to turn over bonuses on two-way Dutching. We worked out that the line rule was shit. Kiro worked out a way that the sweet spot was between $4 and $9, and we identified that we could get about 70 to 75% back on those days on the odds. But then we found something called three-way Dutching, which is where you can actually use a 3 outcome, which is like a soccer match, where there's a win on one team, draw on the other selection, and then win on the second team. So 3 outcomes possible. And what we found was, if we found a team in the odds range of $4 to $9, you put the bonus on that, and that could be either of those 3 outcomes, and then you literally just Dutch the other outcomes so that the returns are the same. One of them is a bonus, 2 of them are cash. And we realized that we could get about 70 to 80% because the odds were so good back then. Now, for context, people are probably wondering, how did you get so many bonuses? Back then, bookies used to give us a sign up with like $700. Remember LuxBet, who were partly owned by TAB? They would give you a $700 deposit match every single time you'd sign up. A person would sign up, $700. You put $700 in, you get $700 bonus. Ladbrokes, I'm pretty sure was $500 or $250. It could be $500, I can't remember exactly. Sportsbet, $250. William Hill, $700. All of these bigger bookies back then used to give big sign-up offers. So if you're sitting here now thinking, oh, that's a load of shit, what a load of crap. Brother, I'm talking 2014. This is 11 years ago. And they used to hand out literally free reign advertising. Hey JP, sign up to William Hill, will give you $700 deposit match. Go on the live chat, talk to the guy, gives you $700. You turn it over, you make $480. You turn over the money, you withdraw it, bang. Literally place 2 bets and you're done. And then you take the money and you move on to the next one. That's what I did. But eventually, I can't even remember what happened. I don't remember how much money I made, but eventually I started to work out that there were other ways to make money. I hadn't even touched a horse race yet. And I ended up working out that there was an early payout promotion where you could bet on any team that led by 20 points or more would get paid out up to any amount if you used the promotion. So the promotion was literally every single game on Bet365 and Sportsbet. I reckon it was about midway through 2016 when I first came across this. And that's when I started to rake in a lot of money off the ongoing promotions. I would have Sportsbet v Bet365, like the same match. I'd have Team A, Sportsbet, knowing I'm going to get paid out 20 plus. Bet365, other team, Team B, knowing I'm going to get paid out 20 plus. And I just hedge them against each other. Now, obviously there's going to be a small loss because the bookie has a margin where if you arb cash or you bet cash v cash, you're going to lose some money. So I knew that I was going to lose maybe 3-4% to get into the position. But what I also knew was if one of those teams led by 20 points at any stage in that game, that bet was paid out. So I knew that if, let's just say Collingwood versus Essendon, Collingwood's paying, let's just go with $2 and $1.90, so we're losing 5%. Let's just say we put $1,000 on the $2 team and then $1,090 on the $1.90, which equals about $2,000 each. I'm losing about $90. In fact, it should be about $1,050. I'm losing about $50 there. And if Collingwood lead by 20 points or Essendon lead by 20 points at any stage in the game, I'm going to get paid out $2,000. So if the other team that didn't lead by 20 ends up winning, I get paid out the $2,000 that I already collected. That's a winning bet, no matter if they lose from that point on. And then if the other team ended up winning, I'd get $4,000. So I've only put out $2,050, but I've now got back $4,000, which means I make $1,950. Essentially a 95% return on my investment, which is fucked in literally 2 hours. And then you can just imagine when those stakes started to increase because that promotion was uncapped, fully uncapped. You could put 50 grand on the team and they would pay out 100K if they led by 20 points. Fully true. I had a $32,000 payout on the AFL Grand Final between Adelaide and Richmond in 2017. And unfortunately it didn't fully reverse, but Richmond led by 20 and I cashed out in the stands before the goal went through the sticks and I beat the odds on the 20-point lead. Someone scored a snap at the top of the goal square and put them up by 22 points or something. That was when I cashed out the bet on Adelaide. Now, people are probably thinking here is if the bet didn't reverse, if the team that was leading didn't end up losing, then you could also do something called a live stake or a live bet, where you could cash out the other team's stake because technically you'd already won the bet on the team that led, and then you still had the remaining bet on the other team. So this was a winning bet. Now, if this was to win as well, amazing, fill up. But I didn't do that. I didn't ride and hope the other team ended up winning because it didn't happen often enough for me to understand EV back then to let it ride. And now I would probably have left it because it required less management, just fully passive, leave it there. But I used to sit there and watch every game and literally wait for a team to hit 20 plus, and then I'd call up another bookie and I'd back the team up to the same return as this bet already being paid out. A little bit more complex. But essentially, if you want the team that's winning to be the non-favorite, and this is rugby as well. So rugby would be like 6 plus or 8 plus, and then eventually went out to 12 plus. So yeah, the NRL was 12 plus or 8 plus, and I used to do it on that as well. Now, there were times where a $7 team would get 2 tries. If it was 8 plus, they'd lead by 8 points, fully get paid out. And I remember once there was a team that Melbourne Storm was playing, and it was a points bet promotion where if the team led by 4 plus or 6 plus at halftime, fully paid out. And that hit a couple of times. And in those scenarios, you could manipulate your cash out opportunity based on knowing the market, because if the non-favorite had led early, for example, by 20 points, and there was time for the favorite to come back, you could wait a little bit to see where the match was going to pan out. You could wait for the non-favorite to get caught up a little bit, the favorite comes back, and then you back the non-favorite again, who'd already been paid out at higher odds than what it was when they were leading by 20. So they might end up leading by 8 because the other team came back, and then all of a sudden you're getting $2 odds again, and you just back for the same return, and you end up making the amount back off your bet. I don't want to go too deep because it'll probably confuse people. But essentially, we were just printing money off this promotion. And I did this for about 2 years, from 2016 and from 2017. And what happened from there is it was just like a money glitch. Like, I would honestly just print money on the weekends. I literally would have weekends where I'd make 10, 15, 20K. In my best months, I was making like 35 to 40K because there'd be promotions on the state of origin. There'd be promotions on the NRL every week. And there'd only be periods of maybe like 10 weeks where they do this, and then it'd stop. I'd just go hammer in those 10 weeks and make like 30, 40, 50, 100K, even to a really profitable period where it was the World Cup thrown in there as well. And it was crazy. Like, the World Cup promotion was any team that leads at halftime, fully paid out. Same context. Lead at halftime, fully paid out. So there was Ladbrokes and Sportsbet who were doing this promotion. And you just set it up where you have both teams to pay out. And then if they pay out, you make profit because you're going to cash out the other team, or you let it ride, or whatever. I made about 20K off the World Cup. Hero made 30K. Tom's made a little bit more than that, I think, because he was doing it with a mate. Now, these were the opportunities that were present with me. And during that time, I'd stopped working. I didn't have work. Like, I never worked. But this was like the money printer for me, where I knew I'd never have to worry about money again, because I got to an 80K net worth really quickly. I saved up 80K and did really well. And then I was in a position where I'm like, I don't have to worry about money again. I've literally got this tap where I can just make money whenever I want. If you don't know my story, I broke my face in 2015. So I actually had to stall uni, and then I finished my uni in 2016, went into Europe again, and then came back, started my osteo clinic where I was just working for myself, worked out of a gym in Moorabbin, and was treating patients, 10, 15, 20 patients a week, but I didn't really love it. I was good at it because I used to help people. I was really good at what I did because I actually cared for people. And that's why I then ended up starting the business here, because I realized that I liked helping people and seeing people succeed and get reward from my teachings or my training or my treatments or whatever it was. And after a while, I'll fast forward the next year and a half, 2 years, until 2019, 2020, I ended up making about 250,000 during that time, which isn't a lot of money really in hindsight, because I didn't fully take advantage of some of the things that I could have taken advantage of knowing what I know now. But towards 2018 and 2019, I teamed up with Tom, who's now a director of our company, and we made about 80K combined through about a 10-week period in the spring carnival of 2018 and 2019, where we fully went ham. We just farmed bonuses and basically just literally fucking printed money. And we didn't risk a single cent during that time. We just sort of farmed turnover from deposit matches and then nailed it that way. Now, from there, basically what happened was I'd made 250K. I then discovered another method of making money on horse racing. And then I discovered the horse promo method, where you use the back and lay to do a second and third promotion. And then I realized that it's actually more profitable to do the backside of the bet, which is then how the horse system started out, formerly known as Trumpy's Tips. But basically at the end of 2019 and start of 2020, my dad had been diagnosed with motor neuron disease at the end of 2017. And then by early 2020, he was really starting to slow down. I moved from Clayton to Dandenong North, which is closer to my parents where they were living. And I basically had to help my mum look after my dad because he was starting to really slow down. If you don't know what motor neuron disease is, you basically lose all function: eating, breathing, talking, ability to move your hands and walk and function. Then I had to install a stomach tube, couldn't wipe his ass properly, had to clean him, like literally wipe his ass, showering, pretty fucked up shit. And for me, that gave me a lot of life perspective during that time. And Kirabel, my best mate, sent me something to do with a paradigm shift. I actually put the video in the description. It's Bob Proctor, paradigm shift, change your paradigm. The guy's dead now, but he's a fucking legend. It's printed on YouTube, like a lot of views and a lot of really good content. And I tried to do a few more side hustles because I kind of got sick of match betting. It was too easy. I wasn't really finding any purpose with it. And when you just make money mindlessly, as stupid as this might sound, a lot of people still don't believe this, but when you make money mindlessly, you don't actually get much meaning from it. It doesn't help anyone but you and your bank. And eventually, and I've spoken to people about this, I was speaking to an 18-year-old who's made $700,000 from match betting. And he reached out to me last week on Discord, and he basically told me that he's bored and he's not sure if he wants to do it anymore. And it's really hard for people to comprehend that because they don't believe it when they hear that. They fully don't believe it. They're like, what a load of shit. But it's like, until you see how easy it is, you don't really get it. And then when I had this moment, it was when I'd made about, to that point, 270K. And then I made another 30 after this, before the business was fully started. But I had a massive reality check, breakdown moment, if you want to call it that. Not breakdown, but I fully had a moment where I was just sitting there thinking, fuck, I don't have any goals. I don't have any purpose. I don't have anything that I'm working towards. What the fuck am I doing on this planet? That was when that video got sent to me and I realized that I needed to change my paradigm and work out what the fuck I wanted to do with my life. Like, my dad's dying. I don't really enjoy what I'm doing. I just make money whenever I want. I've traveled all over the world and seen a lot of shit. I feel really grateful of that. But what am I doing? What is my aim? What am I on this planet for? And I had started to get into something else, which I ended up trying to import masks when we found out that the COVID lockdowns were happening. We tried to get ahead on masks. I didn't actually pull the trigger on that. I was too much of a coward to pull the trigger. That would have printed, but I missed that opportunity. Then we actually then decided to go in on these UV sanitization boxes, which were fully laughable. We invested like 5K into these boxes that were supposed to zap COVID and then flog them on eBay. We sold like 20, but they were just a complete waste of time. We actually started a full-on branded company and got logos and all, waste of time, fully waste of time. But we learned. And then I started trading forex. When the market got fully shit itself at the start of 2020, we actually just started shorting everything. And I'd studied forex for the last 6 months on and off and trading currency and working out how that works. And basically I knew what not to do. I knew all the risk management principles and I knew not to get emotion involved. And I followed a guy called No Nonsense Forex, which I reckon if I didn't come across his content, I wouldn't have built the content for the free course or platinum. But if you look back on the old platinum content, formerly known as the Hustler Squad, you will see the very much correlation to the slideshows that this guy had made for forex. And then I had then gone and copied for match betting. And I took all of his psychology training out of that and then repurposed it into match betting, which was absolutely elite because it's what our business is now built on. Our DNA of the system is all about mindset, all about changing your mindset, all about emotional control, all about understanding how the bookies marketing works, all about keeping in control, and then being able to be sensitized to money and treat every dollar the same. That is the core of our business, because it's all good and well to teach people how to match bet, but if you don't have a mindset that's correct and strong, you will lose your money. You'll end up gambling. Anyway, long story short, I'd lost $14,000 in 2 weeks trading forex, putting it into forex accounts, margin call, lose all the money, put more in, chase the losses, lose 14K. Kuro lost 26. That hit him brutally. He had a little bit less money than me. I lost 14K and I had an 80K savings, and it brought me back down to about 65. And then I'm like, nah, fuck this. This is a reality check that I needed. It didn't hurt me. I was just laughing at it by the end of it. I just wanted it all to end so I could just move on to the next thing. And then I'd actually planned to educate on forex before I'd lost the money, which is actually laughable. I hadn't made any money. But this is how gurus get involved in shit. They start doing shit and then they try and make a course on it. It's like, brother, you haven't actually done anything. For whatever reason, Kuro came to me and he said, let's do match betting for the USA. Let's take match betting to the USA. We're going to call it the Hustler Squad, which is whatever. And we are going to go and make money and teach people how to make money over there. Because the betting companies over there had just started becoming legal online. They were not allowed to be legal in most states. And it was literally the bottom of the start of any, literally would be like buying Bitcoin at $1. And we decided that we're going to do it together. Then after about 2 to 3 weeks, I realized that I didn't want to do USA because I didn't know anything about it and I knew heaps about Australia. I'd match bet here. I was an expert at Australia. I'd made a lot of money. I knew the market. I knew a lot of stuff about match betting and I could teach it to people. So I'm like, nah, Kiro, we're staying here in Australia and I'm going to take charge of this operation and let's do it. So I started making the free course, went into there. And then during this time, I actually got Steve involved with match betting. He was really smart, but he'd never done match betting. I got him involved in it. Next minute, he'd taken the method that I taught him, or he taught me, and then he said, bro, do this and you'll make more money. And I'm like, whoa. All of a sudden, I'd stopped making the course content for Platinum at that point and I went on a bender for match betting again. After about 2 months of being in the zone and not making any money from my match betting, I actually then started making money again. And it put me away and it got me distracted from the thing that I was trying to do, which was build this community in this course. And through this time, I skipped a step, but I actually got rid of Tom. Tom and I were working closely at the start of 2020. And when I went through that paradigm shift moment where I wanted to get rid of my match betting, I said, Tom, I'm done, bro. I'm done. I'm not match betting with you anymore. I can't be fucked with your attitude. I didn't say this to him. He was a bit of a sook. We used to fight all the time. And long story short, I wanted to keep it private from him that I was making this and I didn't want him to get involved. And I was a bit secretive and I'm like, no, I'm not saying anything. Anyway, he found out about 2 months later when I started to post social media content and he got a bit pissed off. And then we didn't really talk for a little bit and then he got back involved towards the end of 2020 because through that period of us discovering that new method that Steve found, we went and then I made 30K in like 2.5 months. I think it was about April to July and that put me behind on the Platinum launch date. And then I ended up launching Platinum at the August, September, and then we started the community. At the end of 2020, we then started the system, which was formerly known as Trumpy's Tips, but now the system incorporates Platinum, horse system, sports system, and we've built into a company now with 1,650 members. That's how it's built. But that's what I just wanted to tell you. Like the match betting for me, yes, I made a lot of money, but it was the way that my brain changed and what it allowed me to do to take opportunities that weren't there if I didn't have the war chest that was created of money from match betting. The nest egg, right? Always having the 30, 50, 80K savings just sitting there knowing it's there is the biggest cheat code in life. If you can get that, you can literally do anything because you don't have to worry about money. You don't have to worry about surviving every week. You can say, fuck you to your boss. I'm quitting for 6 months, 12 months. I don't care about you. I want to do this. That's the luxury that you have when you have created a massive amount of savings from something that allows you to get so far ahead of your expenses because you have a good income. So for me, it was like, I realized that I didn't love match betting anymore. And a lot of people laugh at this still. They don't understand it. They can't understand. Like 300K is not that much money. I ended up making 300K from match betting before starting the business, which isn't a lot of money. If I knew what I did now, I would have gone back and literally made millions. That's a fact because of what I know now. But I didn't. And then now we have a vision to literally change as many lives as possible. We've been doing this for 5 years now, and I would be lying to you if I told you that I get more reward from the money that I made from match betting than I do if I get a message from someone who says, hey bro, you changed my life, or hey man, you made me 50K, or hey man, literally like your content has woken me up and now I'm making money, I've stopped losing money, or I've just made 30K, thank you very much. And it's like, thank you for being a community member. Thank you for taking your opportunity for yourself, because I know the feeling that you are now experiencing as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 21-year-old, who's literally going to be like so far ahead of the average Joe now because you came across match betting. That is why this business has been built, to provide people with an opportunity to get ahead of the average Joe, to get out of the matrix, and also to get people out of this toxic culture of losing money every week. We have changed tens of thousands of people's mindsets to stop them from gambling. And you don't have to believe that, but that's just what's happened. From the enormous amount of content and rants, and we've had 40 TikToks banned over the past 5 years. We've had YouTube videos that have woken people up, and messages and all sorts of communications, free calls with individuals who've lost $1 million who've been woken up. All these things happen within our community because the core DNA of what we want to do is we want to change people's lives. And yes, people pay us to make them more money through our services and our products. That's the system. That's why I went from being a match bettor who was making money whenever I wanted to. And the reality is I was doing it very spontaneously. I would only do like 3 months of the year, 6 months of the year, have a break, don't do it. Because I only did sport for the first 4 years. I didn't know how to do racing. Then 2018, 2019, 2020 did racing, made double the profits in that 3 year period. But yeah, that's my story of what match betting did for me and how match betting is still the easiest side hustle that I've ever seen. Like I did eBay, I did all these other ones. You can't make money like you can with match betting in the way in which you can start with a low bankroll. You can start with not much knowledge at all. You literally just need fingers, a phone, and need to be 18 years old and have discipline. And then you can turn literally $1,000 into 100K in 12 months easily. And if you don't believe that, that's fine. but we literally have proof of that happening all through our community over the past 5 years. And I did it. I started with, I said 2K in the Our Story podcast, but I reckon I had a little bit more in hindsight because I'd already made money off eBay and stuff like that. So I reckon I had between maybe closer towards 10, but I don't know the exact amount. Either way, it was between 2 and 10. Even if I started with 2 or 1, it's the same outcome would have happened because I just would have built that bankroll the same way like I did with a little bit more money. But yeah, it's crazy that more people don't do it and know it exists fully. It's crazy. I don't understand it, to be honest. I don't understand how people know this exists or can see it and then don't do it. And I think it comes from just being so hypnotized by the bookies marketing that they want to hit the jackpot and they don't see the value in making $20 or $30 risk-free and then doing that literally 1,000 times and then stacking other methods on top of that where you literally have been given free edge and free money. If you're not doing that and you're losing money, well, I mean, when you're consciously aware that it exists and you don't do it, I don't have any sympathy for you. But if you're someone who wants to make more money and you're not doing it, it is the easiest side hustle in Australia. Fully easiest thing to do. And anyone can do it as long as you're 18 years old. I don't know. Thank you for listening. If you like this, tell me, I'll make more of it. I usually post these rants on my personal YouTube, but I thought I'd post one of these on the system just to see what it does because I think there's a bigger audience and a more accurate audience and more demanding audience of this kind of content. If you want to hear more stories about this stuff, more than happy to do it. If you are someone who hasn't started match betting and you have no idea how to start, we actually have a free course, 6 videos, 1 hour. We'll give you tools, bookie list, spreadsheets, calculator, odds chart, all free. And then from there, you can learn how to make your first dollars. And that's what the platinum members do. There are 1,650 members. That's a join fee of $1,097 once for lifelong access. You get a full refund guarantee. Obviously, if you don't make $1,000 in your first 3 months, full refund. We have 1,650 of those members. And then from there, you'll learn more opportunities will come from that. Horse system, we conveniently send out horse promotional tips. We also send out sport promotional tips as well with the sport promos through the winter months and the summer months now. And then obviously people are doing further stuff and that. Once they stack that on top of each other, they can make even more money thinking outside the box. So that's what we do. That's how it started. That's why match betting is the best investment on the planet, I still think. And yeah, I don't believe there's another investment out there where you can make risk-free money, like without literally risk anything. You don't risk anything. Yes, you can say, oh yeah, housing goes up all the time, risky. Market still goes down, can still go down, most likely won't, still can. Crypto, market goes your way or not your way, gambling. Stocks can go your way, not your way, gambling. Anything, even business, starting a business, gambling, because, not gambling, but you're taking a risk. Match betting, you literally put a money on here, money on there, guaranteed outcome. And that's why it's the best investment on the planet. If you don't agree, that's fine, don't do it. But I promise you, it's the easiest way to get ahead in Australia. And what it will do is it will actually help you to think properly about money if you actually learn the right stuff. And that's what we focus on through our content, especially through our platinum content and through our community. We do webinars every week and our Discord community is now growing to an enormous interactive level and it's very active. So if you have any questions, book in a call as well. We offer a free call service, but do the free course. And then if you want to join the platinum members, jump in and join them. But yeah, that's match betting. And if you're not doing it, I hope you've got literally hundreds of thousands of dollars liquid and you're financially free because literally it's the easiest way to do it. And the funny thing is over the last 5 years, we've had a lot of people that we know just kind of laugh at the business idea and now they're starting to actually do it themselves. It's like, brother, you could have done this 5 years ago when it was Printville. Like you could literally do it so much easier. It's still easy today, but it was different. And if those people took their opportunity back then, they would be in a different position now. And the reality is, talking now on Feb 24, 2025, I guarantee you in 6 months' time, if you don't start match betting, you'll be missing another opportunity. The best time to start it is now. Get this video done if you already watched it and go and fucking learn for your sake. Not for ours, for yours. And if you need help, book a call. We'll help you for free on the phone. We'll set you up, roadmap, and then you can literally go and do it. Make sure it's part of your lifestyle and you can fit it into your life. It's easy. The best part is you can do it whenever you want. 5 hours a week, you'd make easily $1,000 per month on average, which is $12K per year. And that's a lot of money for someone who's struggling with money. So anyway, do whatever you want, but all the resources, all the free course stuff in the description, book a call, platinum, everything that I mentioned. If you want to watch more content on our channel, go for it. But yeah, hopefully that helps. Cheers.